Hey everybody, welcome back to Draugen. I'm going to try not to go off on any tangents about Norwegian language difficulties, or at least the complications of having multiple writing systems, etc., etc. I will complain about the fact that this game crashes. Hey Lizzie, just one moment as I complain. This game crashes every time I open it. So every time that I want to play and record an episode, I have to remove my save games folder and like rename it and then launch the game, and Steam puts my save back on from the cloud. So that's fun. Okay, Lizzie, I'm here. I'm done talking about weirdness.
God, it's an easy climb.
No, it's really not.
Very dangerous.
Oh, you're a big boy. Start acting like it. It's not Mount Everest.
I don't know about this. Whoops-a-daisy.
There you go, Edward, my boy. Just one moment, dear viewer. I have to Alt-Tab out and move something real quick. Okay, we're back. Had my recording software was covered over and I could not see the sound levels or anything, so we're back and we found a little gravesite, huh? With some flowers.
What is this?
Where little Ruth died.
You're being morbid. And this is a distraction. I'm here for Betty, not because some girl
Edward.
got herself...
Hey,
You're
hold
a
it.
sensitive brute.
Get a grip, dude.
You're like the Tin Woodman, no heart. You know, you've grown cold and mean in that horrid study of yours, with only books and bugs to keep you company for years and years and years. There are other people in this world, you know. It's not all about you.
Yeah,
You're going
Edward.
to do this. If not for Ruth, then for us. We're going to figure out what happened to the poor girl.
Okay.
Together.
Yep, I'm on it. I'll do it. What do we got? The flowers. The flowers, he notices, are all wilted.
That's been here a while.
Didn't you say it happened over a month ago?
You'd think her family would have replaced it with fresh flowers.
Yeah, you can't help but notice that her family is just gone. They're not here. Is there blood on this rock?
Is that blood?
The girl could have hit her head on that rock. There would have been plenty of blood.
That's awful. I think there's something behind it.
Yeah, I see that as
Can you move
well.
the rock aside?
Yep. It's a cap. A doll without a head.
It must be Ruth's.
Where's the head?
Maybe the killer also decapitates dolls.
Hold
Oh.
on. This pin. This is old. Very old. Looks like something from the Viking era.
And how do you know
We're in
that?
the land of Vikings.
This could be 1,000 years old.
We just know that?
It does not belong in a child's doll.
Who cares? Ruth is dead and you're obsessing about a rusty old pin? Let's go further up. Maybe we'll find more clues.
Look, it's a blurry
Come on, old sport. It's
Viking
not far.
brooch.
Can you wait just 1 minute so that I can catch my
Um,
breath?
Lizzie? Lizzie?
Did you follow the same path, Betty? Or am I just stumbling through darkness?
Okay. Lizzie? I have some concerns about you, Lizzie. Jeez, dude, work out a little bit.
You can see clearly
Oh, there you
on
are.
the edge of the world.
One
Oh,
second.
Teddy Bear. We need to take you out walking more often.
Indeed, I just said that.
So, the girl fell from up here.
Was pushed, you mean? Can you see where she fell? Seeing as you're so
there's-
concerned about
there's
me
the
falling
church,
out
that's
of
what I was
trees,
saying.
I wouldn't want to risk falling off a cliff.
You want to kill me, don't you? He feels dizzy looking down. His heart does not favor heights. The stone he notices would be the likely terminating point of the fall.
If she fell headfirst on that rock, she'd have died instantly.
Edward, honestly.
You
Hey!
wanted to learn more. This is you learning more. She hit her head and fell into the bush where I found her doll. Happy now, Alice?
I'm not. What was she doing up here in the first place?
I don't know,
Hey.
being a child.
She was a child. Children play in dangerous places.
See?
There
Told
must be
you.
more to it. Let's find out where this path leads.
It goes to the
No,
church.
absolutely not. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Lizzie, at least I
Running
can
out of
see you
daylight.
this time.
Betty's
You didn't just teleport.
You're still out there.
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, you can believe that, Edward. But I'm not so certain that, that Betty's out here. We haven't seen any sign of her other than your ravings.
Lizzie, slow down.
Lizzie, we're gonna have a heart
I can't
attack.
keep up with you. Who knows what's up there? It's not worth the risk of falling and breaking something.
I mean, this is pretty
Lizzie?
stable ground. You're not
Are
gonna
you there?
fall unless you reach over the edge. Why are you just stopped, Lizzie? What do you see? Is that a hanged man? Are we playing... Is this Disco Elysium all over again? Another hanged man? Is that Jacob? Or Jakob? Or whatever his name was, Mr. Fretland?
Teddy,
My word. Look away, Lizzie.
is this what happened to the villagers?
Anything behind us?
Killed themselves?
It's one body. Let's not jump to conclusions.
It looks like he has a note on his chest.
Ugh, this is just ghastly. What made him do this? How long has he been...
From the state of the body, perhaps a couple of weeks. It depends on temperature and humidity, of course.
What does that say?
God forgive me.
Don't suicides go to hell? Isn't that what your father said when
Stop.
your mother drowned
Don't.
herself?
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was mean. But now we know a little bit more about her mother. Maybe that was the incident at the pond that we heard about earlier. The hanged man or Ruth.
Do you think this has something to do with Ruth? Maybe she came across the hanged man before she died, and it scared her. So she ran, and
This happened later.
there's some consolation in that, I guess. Maybe it's the killer. The guilt ate him up, and he offed himself.
That's just speculation with no basis in fact.
If this guy opens his eyes and freaks out at me, Lord, we just end in this game. This may be the last episode.
Who was he? One of the Fretlanders?
It's not Johann or Frederick.
Johann, not
He's
Jakob.
too old to be Simon.
Okay.
There's nothing more to do here. I'm going back. Let the poor soul rest in peace.
Does it look like he's resting in peace?
I mean, we could cut him
You're just
down.
going to leave him hanging?
Yeah, we could cut
You're
him
an
down.
insensitive brute.
I'm here for Betty. It's tragic, but really none of my concern.
Betty, Betty, Betty. Always just Betty. You don't care about anyone else. What if that was me up there?
Where'd your arm
Would you
go,
care then?
Lizzie?
All you do is obsess over a scarf and a hat and ugh.
It's all I have of Betty.
Betty, there she is again. Edward, the hanged man, he's someone. No matter what he did or didn't do, he deserves respect. Would you please just do this one decent deed?
All right.
If not for me, then for yourself. Or for
Don't say
for
Betty.
your Betty.
Oh, you said Betty. I knew you were going to say Betty. Okay, fine. Sure, we'll do it.
What are you doing? You can't just pull him down by his legs.
Okay, sorry.
Try loosening the noose.
I mean, jeez.
I
This
can't
is
reach that
Disco
far.
Elysium all over again. So help me, Lizzie, if we fall off this chair and land on a freaking dead body. Don't you jump scare me.
I'm going to be sick. I can't do this.
Yes, you can. Teddy. Edward. I know you can. You've been through much worse.
Have we? What do you know about us? What have we been through, Lizzie? Okay, we're back in the house.
Where are the Fretlands, Edward?
It's been 2 days. If they're not back tonight,
They're not coming back.
perhaps they left after their daughter died.
Was murdered, you mean? Isn't that what we think happened?
We don't know that. Could have been an accident.
Perhaps she fell by accident.
So you don't think it was murder?
It's difficult to say with any certainty. The boy could have pushed her.
You're really not helping.
Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm sorry.
You're exhausted.
I buried a corpse today, Alice.
I know. I'm sorry. Why don't you sleep in the guest bedroom?
The couch is fine. The Fretlands could still come home.
Alright. Just don't come crying to me if you wake up with a crick in your neck. I'll be up for a while, if you feel like talking.
Edward doesn't sound like a man who really... Okay, guess we just right-click out of this menu. Edward doesn't seem like a man that wants to talk about these things. Right, goodbye. Hopefully when we wake up it's not... Oh, what do we have here? We haven't been in this room before. We haven't been allowed in the kitchen.
What did you find?
Someone tried to burn this.
Just like the book. Isn't that odd?
It's addressed to Mrs. Fretland. My dearest Anna. It's from her sister, Margaret. Frederick's wife. The two brothers married sisters, remember?
Yes, and it's adorable. Keep reading.
I really shouldn't.
Really? How else are we going to figure out what happened? Keep reading.
My dearest Anna, I miss you so very, very much. The baby is due soon, and I wish for our family to reunite before... It's been 7 years since the dreadful incident at the mine. Can we not convince Frederick and Johann to forgive and forget? I know there are things Frederick has not told me about what they found and why they parted ways. Their grudge is tearing us all apart. Frederick won't even let me speak to half of our neighbors, accusing them of treason. He's so very angry and full of regrets. It's eating him up. And we...
And we what?
And that's where it's
The
burned.
rest is unreadable.
Margaret reached out to her sister, but I guess it didn't work.
This was written before Simon was born, but burned recently.
Okay, and how old is Simon now? This was from 1909, and it's like 14 years later or something like that. Okay, well, let's check the journal real quick. Is there anything new or old in the journal? So here we have, we know apparently where there's the little path up to the hanged man, and there's the headless doll. Alright, so nothing super new in here. There's the original letter we had from August saying that they were looking forward to seeing us in October. So that's the Fretlands inviting us to come see them. our drawings, and that's it. Okay, well, I'm going to bed, I guess, Lizzie. You know, don't wake me up in a terrifying nightmare scenario tonight, please. What are you looking at?
I really thought I'd find Betty today.
Well, I told you not to get your hopes up, Edward. I mean, we just got here. It's a big place. She could be anywhere.
It's just the thought of her alone out there in the dark.
She's a tough cookie. Your Betty. Tougher than you, teddy bear.
That she is.
I notice you were trying to give us hope, trying to let us down easy, perhaps, Lizzie, when you're like, oh, we could still find her. You didn't really believe that we can still find her. You just want to continue to allow Edward to believe that. You thought I heard, maybe I heard my own footsteps. Oh, no, it was you. You somehow snuck in. Alright, what do we got? Another letter? Where are all these letters coming from that we did not see before? Dear Mrs. Fretland, I trust this letter finds you and your husband in good health. Thank you for your gracious invitation to stay in your home this October. I hope it will present no inconvenience to your family. I'm presently preparing for the Atlantic voyage on the SS Bergensfjord and plan to depart Boston later this month. So this is a letter from us back to her. I still had no word from my sister Elizabeth. My sister Elizabeth? Thought our sister was Betty. But we've been talking to a Lizzie. Okay, I've still had no word from my sister Elizabeth, though I hope she has made it to, we now know this should be Grovik, in the time since the last letter. If this is the case, and if at all possible, I would greatly appreciate receiving a cable in the news if Elizabeth cannot compensate you for the cost. I will of course do so as soon as I arrive. In regards to the dates of my travel, I shall be arriving in Ålesund via ferry from Bergen on October the 15th. I will, and that's where it ends. Lizzie, you want to talk about why your name is here as my sister?
I feel restless.
You should sleep.
I'm not sure I can. But yes, I'll try. In a bit.
This is the burned book, I guess. We've already seen it once.
I almost forgot putting this aside when I lit the fire. Wasn't there an inscription inside?
To Ruth,
Simon.
from Simon.
Simon gave that book to Ruth. But who burned it?
Johann or Anna, if they believed Simon killed her.
But they were friendly, right? Simon and Ruth. Before...
I imagine so. And we know the sisters were close.
I still don't understand why the brothers had a falling out.
Whatever drove a wedge between them, it was big.
Something they found in the mine, it seemed. There was some grudge about what they found in the mine. Alright, Elizabeth. You can see these photos again, but we've already looked at these photos. We've read these clippings. We can see if our face is still real creepy.
You do look exhausted. Go to bed, Edward. I'll tuck you in.
We look like a 40-year-old Harry Potter. Alright, I'm going to bed. Please, no nightmare fuel. Please, let me click on the thing. Can I click? Can I click? Excuse me. I can't click. I can't click on it, Lizzie? Okay, I'm going to leave the room, and I'm going to come back and try again. Unless I need to zoom in on it. Hello? Why can't I click on you? I can't do it, Lizzie.
I feel restless.
You should sleep.
I'm not sure I can. But yes, I'll try. In a bit.
In a bit. So is there something else I need to do? Place the hat. Okay.
What are you doing?
Betty will want these back.
I don't think it's healthy.
Not now, please. I'm exhausted.
Alright, now will you let me sleep? Now you let me sleep. Okay.
Quite the day, huh?
Indeed.
Ready to pass out. Where will you sleep?
I'll be up for a while. My mind's simply racing.
Don't stay up late. Wake me if you hear the Fretlins arriving.
Of course. And I'll keep my eyes open for any ghosts that might want to haunt you in your sleep.
Don't talk about ghosts.
Oh no.
Hush now. Sleep.
No ghosts. No ghosts. Achievement unlocked. Home Alone. Uh-oh. Day 3. Day 3 and we're home alone. Kind of looks light out. So no ghosts. Maybe. Elizabeth?
Lissy!
Right up the stairs, Teddy.
Oh, well, we're not home alone. If you're upstairs.
Teddy? Is that you?
Yep, it's me.
Where are you, Lissy?
Upstairs.
Well, before I go in that room, I'm going to continue to look. By myself. Maybe this is me home alone. Maybe I'll find out something interesting while you're not here, Lizzie. We can draw. We can draw what? A fireplace? A crib? Okay, that's enough drawing. What did we draw? One crib. Anything inside crib? Any baby ghosts? Or ghost babies? Whichever way you want to put the adjective. Read this letter. Read or play the music. We know how to play the music? Guess we're a worldly man. We know how to play. August 3rd, 1923. This morning I had lemon juice and hot water with no sugar instead of tea. I also had half an apple and dry toast. I've been gaining weight lately. I read about this diet in the paper. It's apparently very popular in London, but I am dreadfully hungry and crave fried eggs and sausages. Okay, who is this written by? August 4th, 1923. We received an odd letter yesterday addressed to Johann. It's from an American gentleman, Mr. Edward Harden of Hanover, Massachusetts. The letter was well written and very polite. Mr. Harden received our information from the Öresund police when he requested a contact in Grovik. I do wonder why they gave him Johann's name and not Frederick's. Perhaps because our dear Margaret is no longer with us. Who is Margaret? I'm better prepared to respond in English than Frederick. Mr. Harden inquired about his sister Elizabeth Harden, who traveled on her own. Apparently she's a journalist. Imagine that, crossing the Atlantic Ocean to write about Norway. It sounds wonderful. The letter said Elizabeth telegraphed her brother from Ålesund to inform him that she planned on visiting Grovik. Why she wanted to come to this dreary old place, I have no idea. There is nothing here worth writing about anymore. His sister has not arrived yet. If she had, I would have tired her out with questions about America, being a journalist and traveling the world on her own. She sounds so interesting. I hope she does come, even though she will surely be bored out of her mind. I'll write Mr. Harden today. Johan is not comfortable writing letters, especially in English. He agrees that we should invite Mr. Harden to stay here if he does decide to come. After all, there are no guest houses in Grovik, and our spare room is barely used. Also, I have to admit, having a visitor from America sounds terribly exciting. And then, the next day, this morning I had boiled eggs and buttered toast after Johan told me I was being silly and that I do not need to lose weight, seeing as we're not in London and no one cares. Okay, turn the page. So this is from Mrs. Fretland. I wrote Mr. Harden to invite him to stay at the house if he decides to come. I am terribly excited. I do worry for his sister. I wonder where she could be. August 9th. There was an argument in the shop earlier today. Frederick was yelling at poor Astrid, claiming their goats had been grazing on his land. I wanted to speak up, but knew it'd only make him angrier. August 10th. Johan went across the fjord this morning to purchase some necessities, including new fabrics, and to pick up the post. The letters have been piling up in the store. I sometimes worry the world has completely forgotten about us. 1 week later, August 17th, I finished another dress today. This one is for myself. There are no customers anymore. No one here needs another dress, and it's been ages since we visited the city. I hardly know anyone there, and who would want their dresses made in Grovik when they can have one tailored in Ålesund? I feel lonely today. I miss my dear Margaret so much after all these years. Margaret is the son of Simon? Did she die in childbirth, or maybe Margaret is someone entirely different? August 20th, so a few days later. I think Ruth is hiding something from me. She's been awfully secret. She goes off on her own even more than usual, and her clothes are filthy. I don't mind her playing and exploring, of course. I always did regret Margaret and I not being allowed to run free when we were little. Okay, so they are the sisters. Ruth says she's just looking for flowers and pretty rocks. I shouldn't worry so much. The next day, Simon stopped by today with a gift for Ruth, a whole bar of chocolate. He's a sweet boy, but Frederick would be furious if he knew. August 22nd, I asked Ruth if she plays up by Frederick's farm or near the old mine. She promised she doesn't. I've never had reason not to trust her, but I feel like she's hiding something from me. And that... oh, it's not the last page. So much reading. This is, this is Disco Elysium all over again. I looked at her drawings while she was out. She's got such an imagination. September 5th. So now we've jumped to next month. We received another letter from Mr. Harden. He'll be here in October as planned. I look forward to having someone else to speak with, if only for a few days. Not that Johan isn't good company, but we've had little to converse about outside of our daily routines. There's been no sign of Mr. Harden's sister yet. If she left Ålesund weeks ago, where could she be? She may well have decided to stop along the way. We've heard nothing, but we so rarely speak with anyone outside Grovik these days. I do hope she's alright. I would hate for Mr. Harden to come all this way to no avail. Ruth is still being secretive. I know she's hiding something. One of these days I will follow her. 4 days later. No church service again today. The vicar hasn't been back since the memorial service in July. Johan believes he won't be back, and that he's given up on Grovik like everyone else. I think I'm coming down with a cold. About a week later, someone damaged our boat during the night. That's the third one this month. Johan suspects Frederick, of course. I fear something is bubbling to the surface again after all these years. I'm not at all feeling well and spent most of yesterday and today in bed. Ruth was sweet and brought me potato soup and tea with honey and milk. And then a few days later, she has left us. Our dearest Ruth is gone. I can't believe it was Simon's doing. He too is gone now, and with him all hope Grovik had left in it. Simon is gone too. Someone killed Simon because they believed he killed Ruth. Unless Simon can't have been the guy. Simon would have been too young to be the man hanged there. So maybe that was... Well, they said it wasn't Johann. So maybe... I don't know. I'm so confused. Who was it then? Okay, let's play a little piano. The Draugen Waltz. It's very sad. I mean, we're a great piano player, though, apparently. Okay, that's enough of that. That's not getting us anywhere. We have to find Betty! Betty! Oh, we got an achievement unlocked for Piano Man. We're wasting time. We're not finding Betty. Okay, I know that she's in there, but, I mean, not Betty, but Elizabeth is in there, but I want to check these other rooms, see if there's any new stuff we can glean. We'll probably just stick our... Oh, no. We went all the way in. I thought we were just going to stick our head in and decide we didn't want to come in this room. So a small single bed. Something about Jesus. Father, I will... Or I want... I'm not going to try to read that. Okay, I'm surprised that Elizabeth hasn't been yelling for us. Okay, this room's locked. Maybe the master bedroom. We can go out on the balcony. Have a good look at the church. Nothing else? Nothing out here? No secrets? Okay. Elizabeth. Oh, it's Ruth's room. I thought that was Ruth's room. Because it had a single bed. Elizabeth? Hey.
This is her room.
Hmm?
Are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Ruth.
I saw the name.
Can you imagine? One moment you're living a perfectly happy life, and then... nothing. Darkness. Forever and ever. Maybe there's something here that can tell us what happened to her.
This is a waste of my time.
We might be the only ones left to tell her story, Edward.
You're just being melodramatic.
I mean,
I'll help you look.
She's not wrong. We aren't finding Betty.
There's still no sign of the Fretlands.
Maybe they left town after Ruth died.
What's the point of this? I should be looking for Betty.
I hate you sometimes.
I hate you, Edward. Hey, doll. So that diary mentioned Ruth's drawings. So let's see.
Ruth was an artist.
This is very primitive.
Have you ever met a child, Edward? She wasn't Monet. She was 8.
She's
This must be the village church.
Edward.
That's
Quiet.
Ruth and her family on one side of the aisle. Simon and his father on the other.
A community divided.
They do look very angry. Well, except for Ruth. Ruth looks very sad.
She found something.
Where's that supposed to be?
Treasure
Cave.
in the mine.
Or the...
Mine.
Yep, the
Could
mine.
be. But what did she find?
Treasure.
Something important enough to draw.
Draugen.
Hey, the undead monster from those folk tales you read.
What an odd book book for a child to have?
I don't know. Children love scary stories. This looks interesting. Read some of it to me.
Okay. Here we go. We're reading it.
In Norwegian folklore, the appearance of Draugen, the reanimated corpse of a drowned mariner, heralds death. Draugen haunts the Black Seas in a shattered boat. The beast has a man's body and wears a sou'wester, but instead of a head, there is tangled seaweed, and the revenant's chilling cry freezes mortal blood to ice. Draugen has the power to enter the dreams of the living. If you wake from such a dream, you have been spared, though someone close to you... That's enough of that. It's nonsense, of course. Not something a child should be reading.
Do you think Draugen took our boat? Maybe he's out there, on the fjord.
Someone was taking the Fretlands,
so he can return to shore.
damaging the Fretlands boat.
Your soul lacks poetry, Edward Charles Harden. I pity you.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's probably correct way to think.
That must be Ruth and Simon's fathers.
Perhaps. They weren't on the best of terms.
They look like they want to kill each other.
To a child, maybe it looked worse than it was.
Children are more insightful than you give them credit for, Teddy Bear.
I like how she draws them the same because they're twins. They look the same. What's this one on the floor? Is that a Draugen?
Ruth never finished this. What does that spell? F-O-R-B.
For Banelson. The curse.
Who's that figure supposed to be?
Draugen.
It's creepy. It looks a bit like the Draugen in her book.
It totally
A
is.
figment of her imagination. But the box she drew,
It's a treasure.
it looks like this box under her desk.
Really? Let me see. Pull it out.
I don't think we should, honestly. It's like... it's cursed.
What is this?
Old Viking
I
stuff.
believe this might qualify as actual treasure.
Is that Norwegian money?
Sort of, but ancient. Viking coins.
Are they valuable?
Yes.
Not in terms of monetary value, but historically. They belong in a museum.
Looks like Ruth had her own private museum.
Why would a child have these artifacts?
She must have enjoyed collecting and playing with them.
Because she
These are
found it in
much
the
too
mine.
precious to play with. She should have given these to an adult.
She was a child, Edward. To her, they were just shiny toys. Wait! The pin! On the doll!
This is where it came from. Her collection.
But where did she find these treasures?
In the
I
mine.
believe her drawing. Perhaps the mine. She may have found a grave site. Wherever she found them, she wanted to keep them hidden.
You think someone found out?
These items wouldn't necessarily be worth much, except to a historian or archaeologist.
What if this is how... I mean...
What if this
if
is why
someone
she died?
learned she'd been collecting treasures, they might be willing to do terrible things.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it could happen. Also, it could be why the mine closed up, because
There's
they
a
knew the
story
stuff was
here.
down there.
The treasure box, the drawings.
The overactive mind of an imaginative child.
She didn't imagine the Viking artifacts. You shouldn't be so dismissive. The drawings could be her way of dealing with traumatic
This
events.
is what happens when I read you the principles of psychology. You get notions.
You say that like it's a bad thing. Ruth was troubled. The village was troubled, and... Is that a bell?
A church bell. Someone's here. Maybe Betty.
Why would Betty ring the church bell?
Perhaps she's in trouble.
Perhaps
I need to
it's
get
a
to the church right
bad
now.
omen.
Wait, isn't it more likely to be the person you saw the other night? We should
I
be careful.
told you, I'm not sure that was anything. Come on.
Go ahead. I'll catch up with you before you get there. I need a minute to think about.
She's right, Edward. We
all
don't know who that is.
Do you see anyone?
They must be inside the church.
I mean, even if they were outside the church, we would not see them. That's way too far away in the mist. Okay, anything else we could glean from this room before we go? No? Alright, we're going. And we'll probably end the episode soon. Can we see anything from the balcony before we go downstairs? Absolutely not. Okay, I hear you. Ding, ding, dong. Sounded like a different kind of dinging, though. Closer. But I guess it's just the house that is shielding. Muffling the sound. Anyone here? Anyone here? Well, before I go all the way downstairs, or all the way down to the village, I guess this is a good enough spot to end the episode before it gets too long. I think we've started to learn something about Edward and quite a lot about Elizabeth, it seems. Not sure she is who we believe she is. And the whole thing about the sister is just kind of odd. But, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again next time.